Hey guys, Tyler Isberg here of ESPN Esports, and today I'm joined by Cloud9's ace Valorant player, Tyson TenZ. No, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
You've been streaming nonstop, daily. How's it been so far? Obviously, your switch from Counter-Strike to Valorant was very publicized. Joining C9 is kind of their first member into their expedition of Valorant. Just how has it been the first, few weeks of the beta? It's been a whirlwind for you.
The the beta, it's been pretty good, and I've been super motivated just because it's like something fresh, and I just wanted to start new.
What was it about Valorant that really got you hooked to it? Like, obviously, you were playing CS:GO. You were being hailed as one of the best one of the best North American prospects. Obviously, you're Canadian. What really sold you on Valorant and making the switch from Counter Strike to Valorant?
So it's mainly it's just like very new to me. Like I played Counter Strike for about 4 years, and so Valorant was a fresh take on the tactical shooter genre, and it just feels like really nice to me.
How is it, going, C9? What kind of happened when C9 came to you and says we want to kind of start a team around you? What were those discussions like?
So C9, when I was on the Counter Strike roster and they first revealed the first gameplay for Valorant, I told them that I'd probably be interested in the game, and so after I got benched, we were kind of looking towards that.
You see Valorant as kind of your like second chance, really. Obviously, had a lot of hype going to Counter Strike. As you said, you got benched. What was it really about Valorant that kind of stuck with you like instantly? Like, when did you realize that you could be, better than just good at this game? You could be a pro level player.
So when I switched to Valorant from CS, I just kind of want to work on what I wasn't in Counter Strike. And so I've been focusing a lot on more of a fundamental level and just working on being a good team player and stuff like that.
So, what was the first, like, right when you got into Valorant, first game? What was the first agent you played?
I played Jet instantly.
Why Jet?
I don't know. It just looked fun to me.
You've been playing a lot of Viper. I mean, I've been watching your stream. You've been playing a ton of Viper. What is it about Viper? I mean, she's not I would say a meta pick currently. You see a lot of Brimstone, Breach, Cypher, Sova, Jet or Phoenix, Raze. Not a lot of Viper. What about Viper really draws you to that agent?
um, I Viper, I just see she has a lot of potential to just outplay people, and it feels like when you're playing against a Viper, you don't really know what she's gonna do if she's actually like experienced with the character, and so the possibilities are just endless.
Looking kind of at the current landscape of North American Valorant, who are some of the players that have stuck out to you? Obviously, you have the Braxes and AZKs, the big names, the CS gods like Elige and Stewie, and they're doing fine. Who are some of the like unknown players or some of the tier 2 players from Counter-Strike that have switched over or unknowns that have really surprised you in the beta?
Probably the Gen G roster, like the French Canadian squad, because they've been playing MDL together for a while, and they're fresh off a win from the T1 Invitational, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What about them has really impressed you?
Just how good their teamwork is and how fast they've adapted to a new game as like a full 5-man squad from a different game.
For you, kind of being in this kind of talisman central role of the C9 roster, what are you looking for? Because obviously you're going to have, I believe, some say in who will be added to the C9 team. What kind of players are you looking for? What would you want to see in your future team that you're building to, go against the Gen Gs and the T1s of the world?
For a team,
Yeah.
mainly just like people who are just really hungry and motivated to win and just want to strive to get better. They can take criticism really well, and they don't have bad attitudes, and they're just good people in general.
So chemistry, and
Yeah.
would you rather have someone who was, let's say, simple level aim, like simple Zywoo, best CS player in the world, but have a terrible attitude on your team? Or would you rather have someone who is, middle of the road, but you can work with them? Would you rather have insane talent with a bad attitude, or would you rather work with someone who is lagging, but you can see potential in them?
Probably the potential in the player, like not really some talented players that have bad attitudes are kind of ticking time bombs and they can throw off like the whole dynamic of a team. And just them getting tilted can just tilt the entire team.
Speaking a little about the current landscape of North America into Valorant, you were the first player to actually achieve the Valorant rank in Valorant. Can you just talk a little bit about that moment of you kind of getting to that point and just the grind of the rank? Because when rank came out, everyone was basically rushing to get to the Valorant rank first. You were the first one to do it. Just take us through kind of that day and the journey to actually get there.
I wasn't initially going for Valorant at first, but after I think I got Immortal 3 and I kind of saw that nobody else was Valorant, I was like, oh, I can actually make Valorant. And so I was just queuing games for the rest of the day until I eventually got it. And I think I got it in 2 days after rank came out.
And the game you got it in was like a 32 kill game or something like that. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I was just popping off in that game.
how do you feel about the rank system? I think a lot of people right now they're having a bit of a it's decisive. It seems like it's very easy and it doesn't take forever to grind into the top levels or to jump a level or two. But it seems like there's a lot of people complaining that it's not as precise as they would want it to be. How do you feel about the rank system currently in Valorant?
Um, I would prefer if the ranking system was a little bit similar to League, where you have the LP or you can see your progression physically, and you're not kind of playing games without knowing if you're going to rank up or not. So I'd really like to just see like physical progression,
Hmm.
and then yeah,
You don't like the whole like, oh hey, your ranking greatly increased. You don't really know what that means.
yeah,
It's just a hopefully I'll rank up sometime in the near future.
yeah, so yeah,
So obviously we have the ranked, we have the current landscape, we have the T1 Invitational with T1 Genji winning it out. It seems like right now there is a core four agents that are played probably in most games. You have Breach, you have Brimstone, you have Sage, you have Cypher. Those four seem to be the quartet of death where every game, most of those four, you're going to see them in. How do you feel about the meta right now in Valorant? Do you think it's too soon to say that like those four characters are needed in every game, or do you feel like there needs to be more variety from agents to kind of mix up the meta?
I definitely think right now that having a Sage and Cypher on your team is like hard meta, just because those characters are so strong right now. But I don't think those quartet of characters are going to be like the set meta for when teams actually start playing. For instance, like when I'm playing Viper, I can see her completely replacing Brimstone on a team because of her potential to just smoke off stuff, and then she has walls, and they're also redeployable and stuff. So I think
Well,
there's
hmm,
oh, I
go
think
on.
there's potential to use other characters, but mainly just have a Sage and Cypher mostly.
Do you think every agent's viable currently in the high levels, or do you think there's an agent right now that's kind of useless if you see them on your team that you're just like, okay, that not really gonna help us at all?
I think every character brings their worth to the team.
So they've done a good job so far, kind of diversifying the ages enough where each character feels like they can be relevant in the high elo.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel like any characters need to be nerfed? Or do we
Mm,
still need more time to kind of figure it out?
yeah, I think I need more time still. Like the only thing that makes me kind of mad is the Sage slow. I feel like that slows a lot, but other than that, it's fine for me.
So obviously you've had a lot of instructional Viper videos, kind of showing off the different placements of her wall, where you can kind of place it from overhead just to get ahead of the curve. some really nifty plays. What beginner tips would you give to, an Iron or beginner Viper player who's, lower ranks, want to play Viper, want to learn her better? What would you say the number one rule is to play Viper if you're a beginning player with her?
If you're beginning with Viper,
Mm.
I would say don't use the same nades every single round. Try to throw in like some curveballs every like now and then, and don't be really predictable.
I think a lot of people right now are happy with the characters. They're happy with the gunplay. They're happy with the economy. I think the one thing right now that the community seems against, since Raze has been nerfed and her nades have been, kind of taken away from her, the biggest issue right now for players is the maps. I've seen a lot of criticism about the maps, how there's too many corners, they feel too similar, there's too many hallways, the corners are way too deep. You have to check every corner twice to even get into a spot. How do you feel about the maps currently in Valorant? Which one's your favorite?
So I'm when I'm thinking Bind and Haven, I feel like they're really, really good maps. They do have a lot of corners, but it just takes a little bit to get used to because the game does play a little bit slower. But the two maps, Bind and Haven, have like a fresh take on maps. Like I haven't seen a 3-point site and I haven't seen a a map with teleporters, so it's pretty cool and it plays very uniquely. The only map I'd really say is kind of bland right now is Split, just because it's very mid oriented or A oriented. And if you have a cipher on B, they just completely lock it down, so there's not even a chance to go there.
What's one thing you'd want to see in Valorant? Like, be it a character, be it a map, be it an implementation of a rule set or whatever. What's one thing that you would like to see implemented into Valorant as we head towards launch?
I would like to see another map.
So there's going to be 4 on release, and there's going to be 12 agents on release, be it whenever the game releases officially. How many maps would you want to see in the pool by the time, the pro scene really jumps off? Do you want 5 maps, 6 maps, 8 maps? How many do you think there's enough where there's enough variety? You think that the pro play needs that amount of variety?
I'm thinking 5 maps sounds good, or 7, but seven's like a lot. But
And
yeah, I'd
fixed
say
split,
like 5 maps to be fair.
and a fixed split. And
Yeah,
because no one really right now wants to play split. It's kind of the bane of everyone's existence in these highly elo tournaments. You barely see it.
yeah.
So, in your opinion, right now there's a lot of people going pro. Obviously, you're going pro. The Gen G guys, Brax, AZK, Wardell, all these tier 2, tier 1 CS pros. Sinatra coming in with not Immortals, Sentinels with Shazam, Sick, those guys. Who's one player in the world of esports, be it Counter Strike, League of Legends, what have you? If you think they switch to this game, they would be the number one player. Who would be the scariest that if you woke up tomorrow and you saw that they switched to Valorant, where you would be like, damn, this is going to be difficult?
Zaiwu.
Zaiwu?
Yeah.
Why Zaiwu?
He just approaches the game differently, and he just doesn't miss. So it'd be terrifying.
Who would from NA was there anyone from NA if they switched you'd be a bit worried of, or do you think that anyone you switched in NA you could, you'd feel
NA?
pretty, yeah, an
Hmm.
Elige, a Stewie, a Nitro, a
I think
Twist,
Elige.
Elige.
Yeah.
Luckily, he is not moving. Team Liquid
Yeah.
will not let him move. To wrap up this interview up, we're gonna look towards a little bit of the future. C9, you kind of are that central player for the pros. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of aspiring pros watching this interview, wanting to be on C9, wanting to be your teammate, wanting to be on that C9 Valorant roster. To those aspiring pros, to those people in high elo, what would you tell them to stand out in Soloqueue or ranked in general?
So to stand out, I'd really say just be a good teammate in general. Don't be toxic, because if you get a toxic reputation, it will kind of deter people from playing with you, and it will definitely close opportunities for you.
And
And
final, oh, go on.
oh wait, no, that's it.
Okay, and final question to the fans, to the people climbing, people going to grab Valorant when it comes out officially, to the people in beta. For people who want to climb, for people who want to go from silver to gold, from bronze to platinum, the people who want to rise up the rankings, what would be your biggest tip to the people going into ranked right now?
So I would say it'd be best to kind of start on one agent and just get really comfortable on that agent. For instance, I play Viper a lot. I've just been spamming Viper games, so I kind of know the ins and outs of the character, and just feel really comfortable with her. But once you have that like one character, I think you can start establishing your own character pool and start diversifying.
Perfect. Thank you, TenZ. And if you want more news and highlights all around the world of Valorant, check us out at espn.com/esports.